Good afternoon. I'm calling the Interim Finance Committee July 26th meeting to order. And why don't we, Mr. Weber, would you please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Here.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Here.
Assemblyman Hafen.
Here.
Assemblyman Levitt.
Here.
Assemblywoman Marzola.
Here.
Assemblywoman Miller.
Here.
Assemblyman C.H. Miller.
Here.
Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Here.
Assemblywoman Peters.
Here.
Assemblyman Roberts.
Here.
Assemblywoman Titus.
Here.
Assemblywoman Tolles.
Here.
Assemblyman Yeager.
Here.
Vice Chair Carlton. Senator Cannizzaro.
Here.
Senator Don Darrow Loop.
Here.
Senator Goycochea.
Here.
Senator Hammond.
Here.
Senator Harris.
Here.
Senator Neal.
Here.
Senator Severs Gansert.
Here.
Senator Tatro.
Here.
Chair Dennis.
Here, thank you very much. Okay.
Senator Dennis,
Yeah.
this is Assemblyman Yeager. I just did want to note that Assemblywoman Marzola is here, I think, on behalf of Assemblyman Watts. I didn't hear her called during the roll call.
Can we make sure that we get that corrected on the record?
I'm here. Sorry if you couldn't hear me.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Just one quick thing before we do, we're going to go to public comment on the agenda. I just want to take a moment just to welcome, the governor has appointed a new budget director, Amy Stephenson, and this is her first IFC meeting as the budget director. So just want to give you a shout out and welcome. And I will be working on things as we move forward with the IFC. So welcome aboard. I know that, let's see, you were previously deputy director at the Department of Veterans and you've been working for the state for 20 years. So thank you for staying with the state, and thank you for accepting the call from the governor to come work on the budget. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Dennis.
All right, so with that, we're going to go to public comment. This is the first period of public comment. We'll also have one at the end. And also because of time considerations, we're going to limit to public comment to 2 minutes each. And if you need to call in, you can get the information on the website, but I can give you the phone number. If you want, you can dial 669-900-6833. And when prompted to provide the meeting ID, you'd enter 882-4470-5382, then press pound sign. Once again, that was 669-900-6833. The meeting ID is 882-4470-5382, and you press pound sign. And also the information is available on our website. So thank you very much. With that, BPS, if you will put on our first caller.
Thank you, Chair Dennis.
Let me back up because we could have people both in Las Vegas and Carson City. Let me do that first, and then we'll put on the first BPS. I apologize. So anybody in the Las Vegas office wishing to give public comment? Can't see it, but it doesn't look like anybody's coming forward, but it's really teeny on my screen. So,
Chair Dennis, there's no one. There's no one in Vegas, in Las Vegas.
Thank you. I was going to ask if you would chime up there. Okay, let's go to Carson City. Anybody in Carson City wishing to give public comment?
Don't see anybody coming forward, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Goicoechea. All right, now let's go to the first caller online.
Thank you, Senator Dennis. If you would like to offer public comment on today's meeting, please press raise hand in the Zoom client or *9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. Once more, that's raise hand in the Zoom client or *9 on the phone.
And I can't see all the pictures, so I can't tell if anybody's raising their hand or using the raise hand feature. I don't see anything, but do we have anybody? Is there anybody online? UPS?
Yes, Chair Dennis, we do have one caller. They are unmuting right now.
Okay, great.
Caller 689, you are unmuted and may begin.
Hello, I'm not quite sure if I am, I'm calling from the phone. I did call in, I'm just not sure. It's not giving me a number of what caller I am.
Oh, go ahead. We can hear you, so you're up.
Wonderful. All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, committee. My name is Tiffany Story, and I am a Washoe CASA Foundation board member, as well as a CASA advocate from in Carson City. I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to give comment. I recently, about two weeks ago, I just finished my first case as a CASA. My little boy is 2 years old. I've had him for about a year and a half. When he first came into foster care, he was completely traumatized. And when he first came in, his mother is a drug addict and prostitute, and his father very, very unwell when it comes to mentally being able to take care of him. So when this little boy first came into care, he had so many needs, including medical needs. And so I had the privilege of being able to be his CASA. This was my first case. And it was an incredible experience. And, you know, as you guys know, the turnover for being a social worker and even anything within human services, the turnover rate can be pretty large. So for me, I found when I was his CASA, he had various lawyers, he had various caseworkers, he even had various foster homes. But all of you, he had one CASA, and that was me. And I got to be his CASA and be his voice. Now, research shows that with CASAs, and with any child that grows up in an abusive household, that if they have that one person in their life that gives them the hope to move on and shows them a new and brighter path, shows them that life doesn't have to be so painful, that they will have more opportunities and they will be able to succeed and surpass all of those challenges that they had due to the trauma that they were young. So I'm very excited for this grant for Nevada CASA Association and all of the rural counties that have CASA organizations. In Washoe County alone, we have 800 children in foster care right now. We have less than 100 CASAs. 100 CASAs. That doesn't equal 800 children in foster care needing a voice. And so for us using this money to be able to get out there and advertise more, to show the public what CASA is about and how rewarding it can be for anyone who wants to get involved. Again, I leave you with this, giving anyone the chance to have a voice and to have that advocate means the world. And today, 2 weeks ago, I got to go to his celebration party. He is now 2 years old, and he is in the best home that he could possibly have come into. Last but not least, I'll take 5 seconds here, and I want to share my support as well to the Child Assault Prevention Program with Becky LeBeau here in Washoe County as well. I am on the board for that, and that is helping children throughout our schools to get education regarding domestic violence prevention, child abuse prevention, as well as sex trafficking. I thank you, committee, for all that you do and you provide, and I look forward to CASA continuing to grow, as well as child assault prevention program taking flight, and helping children in our area that need it the most.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your passion. All right.
Thank you.
Can we go to the next caller?
We are currently on public comment for today's meeting. If you would like to make public comment, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue or raise hand in the Zoom client.
I'm just taking a look to see if there's anybody raising their hand in the Zoom client. I don't see any. Okay, and we have no one else online?
Chair, there is one more person with their hand raised. They are unmuting right now.
I see that. Go ahead.
Hi,
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Lizette Guillen from Nevada Partners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, thank you guys so much. Just wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity to provide these services to our community. I know with the COVID impacts, we've been as a whole looking to serve our community and just bring in resources such as workforce, education, and other housing support. And I just really want to thank you for this opportunity. We know that with this funding, we would really support with bringing workforce back into our community and providing some additional job training, case management, household services. And we are hopeful that we can continue in collaboration with these services for our community. So thank you so much for considering us for this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wishing to give public comment? Do we have anyone else online or? Oh, I see a hand there. Mr. Mike Waller.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, again, I want to thank the committee also for taking the opportunity to review. It is our opportunity, pleasure to provide services, mental health to a diverse demographic, low-income community here in North Las Vegas, as well as Las Vegas and the surrounding area. And I'm excited and looking forward toward working with a number of new clients in addition to the ones that I currently serve. So again, just want to thank the committee for the opportunity to review my grant and looking forward to working with you all with the state regarding this grant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to give public comment? Okay, looks like, and let me just double check, but I don't have any other hands raised. And okay, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and close public comment for now. We do have an opportunity at the end also to give public comment. And I just will note that we do have members today participating from Las Vegas, Carson City, and I think the majority are online. And so welcome. And we are going to go to the next item on the agenda, which is item number C, which is work program revisions in accordance with NRS 353.2205B. This is a informational item only. There are only 2 work programs on list C, and both were submitted as 15-day expeditious action items, and the 15 days have expired. So does anyone have any questions about either the work of the programs, of either of the work programs? Yeah, let me run through the pictures. I don't see anyone.
Chair, this is Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. I had just had a quick comment on one of them.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. So this is regarding to C2, the victims of crime payments. And so just a comment for the record, as the program obviously grew exponentially in the past couple years, and just looking at the supporting documents, it looks like there's a lot of different things that the money is funding, and appropriately so, but that we don't really have categorized out. It's under discretionary. And it would just be, I think, wonderful data to know as we go forward, what that might be, and then see if that is better reflected in the bill type category, just so we as policymakers have a better idea of what those services are. And I don't know if those bill type categories are constrained by federal language or not. But that was just one comment I had on there, was kind of being enthusiastic. And where are these landing? What are people requesting? What do they need? What do victims need? And just thought that might help us understand a little bit better. Thank you so much. I appreciate the work on this.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have any questions? Just if you do, unmute and just tell me who you are. Probably easier and faster. Okay, I'm not hearing anyone. So since there's no items to vote on here, we'll go on to item number D, statement of the ARPA Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund obligations. And Mr. Leiser is present. So if you would present that statement.
Thank you, Chair Dennis, members of the Interim Finance Committee. For the record, Brody Leiser with the Fiscal Analysis Division of the Legislative Council Bureau. I will walk through agenda item D. This statement can be found beginning on page 29 of the meeting packet. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the statement on the screen here. For consideration today, our work program requests totaling approximately $18 million to obligate the remaining authority reserved for the nonprofit Community Recovery Grant Program. If all items are approved, there would be no remaining authority under the $30 million set aside for this program, and the remaining total unobligated balance of coronavirus state fiscal recovery funds would be approximately $1.1 billion, as displayed toward the bottom of the summary sheet that's on the screen here. Beginning on page 30 of the meeting packet, pages 30 through 33 detail the obligations approved to date. I would point out, you'll notice that there are 6 items which were previously approved on pages 30 and 31, which are highlighted in gray. After reviewing eligible expenditures associated with the administration of coronavirus state fiscal recovery funds in accordance with the interim final rule from the U.S. Department of the Treasury, the Governor's Finance Office determined that these expenditures were eligible to be funded from the main reserve, and therefore a work program was approved to transfer the reserve source of funds from the lost revenue to the main reserve for these 6 items. So if you were to compare this statement to prior versions, you'll see that the dollar amount has remained the same, just the source of the reserve has changed. There are 34 work programs submitted for consideration by the committee, which begin on page 33 of the statement, that, as previously mentioned, would obligate the remaining $18 million in authority set aside for the nonprofit Community Recovery Grant Program. I need to note one reference correction. As we adjusted the work program lists under agenda item E after the statement had been finalized. On page 35, which I have up on the screen, the references for agenda items E35 and E36 should be flipped. The description and dollar amounts are accurate, but what is shown as agenda item E35 should be E36, and what is shown as agenda item E36 should be E35 here on the statement. On pages 36 through 39, this is the breakdown statement for select obligations of coronavirus state fiscal recovery funds. I would note for the members that on page 39, there were 6 items under the section for allocations of the $100 million in authority for state agencies. There were 6 items that were approved by the governor's office and did not require approval of the IFC as indicated on this statement. These 6 items are on the list with the dates of June 27th through July 15th, 2022. And Chair Dennis, that concludes my remarks.
All right, thank you. Let me switch my screen. All right, any questions? Anyone have any questions on the statement? Just one clarification on the item. So this has item E that we have on the agenda today. Did you say that this would finish out all the amounts, that this would use all the amount that was left for this purpose?
Thank you, Chair Dennis. For the record, Brody Leiser. If all items requested by the committee today are approved by the committee, yes, these combined with the previous actions of the committee would obligate the entire $30 million that was set aside for the nonprofit community recovery grant program.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, any other questions?
Clarification?
Yes,
Sure.
Assemblywoman Titus.
Thank you. So just to be clear, Brody, you just said that it would use up the $30 million that we have obligated, but not all the ARP funds, correct? How much do we have left there?
Thank you. For the record, Brody Leiser, Senator Dennis, through you to Assemblywoman Titus. That's correct. Let me to clarify this: if all items requested today are approved, it would obligate the entire amount of the $30 million that was set aside specifically for the nonprofit community recovery grant program. Total remaining unobligated balance of the coronavirus state fiscal recovery funds would be approximately $1.1 billion. And that can be seen on the summary page of the statement, which is on page 29 of the meeting packet. You look at the bottom of that summary page, you'll see the total unobligated amount of approximately $1.1 billion.
Great, thank you. I saw that, and then I just wanted to confirm with that last statement that we were not confusing these all of these monies. So thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
And Chair Dennis, I have my hand raised too.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Tolles, for the record. And first, let me just say thank you to fiscal staff. I know that in prior meetings we've asked for a one-pager or just something broken down in a couple of digestible pages to help see what we've spent so far, what we have remaining, and this is extremely helpful not just for the members of the committee but for the members of the public. And I too was going to ask about the clarification on that 30 million. So, but we established that. So my next question is, what are next steps for organizations that had applied for that funding if they did not make this list today? Have they been informed? Are they going to be redirected towards other avenues or opportunities, or is this the final decision that they're not going to have access to any more ARPA funds moving forward out of that 1.1 billion remainder?
Chair Dennis, this is Brody Leiser for the record. I think that question is probably best directed to the governor's finance office or the governor's office.
Yeah, so if we've got, I don't know who would like to address that issue. I was going to actually bring that up as we entered item E, so we'll go ahead and take that item now. Go ahead for that issue.
Hi, Bailey Bordelin for the record, Deputy Chief of Staff for Governor Sisolak. Thank you for the question. This is a very specific grant where $30 million was set aside and folks directly applied for the grant. So like any other grant today, if all items are approved, we'll wrap the funding from this specific grant. But there are a lot of funding opportunities at the state. And so we will be communicating back to all folks that participated in the listening tour with a check-in as to where we are and how these dollars have been spent, which LCB just helped run through, and all of the initiatives that are ongoing. But there are constantly funding opportunities at the state, and that is an exercise that we have really robustly undertaken as part of the ARP process, is as folks reach out and say, hey, we're interested in ARP dollars. ARP dollars are not always the best source of funding for folks' needs. There are other more direct avenues where folks can be redirected and opportunities where they can also apply. So we anticipate there will be other funding opportunities. Open right now is the Home Means Nevada initiative, the $500 million housing initiative that you all have worked with us on. I believe you'll get an update on that later, but that is another specific application process. Some of the nonprofits that serve more in that space are applying there. And so I would just say we will communicate back as other funding opportunities become available, but would encourage folks not to feel limited to the federal dollars as the only funding source, as we often list on the state grants website lots of opportunities through our agencies.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is for the governor's office. I remember when you first set aside the $30 million, the question was specifically asked whether additional funds could be added to it, that if it was limited to $30 million. And I appreciate your answer that there are different pots of funds. But at that time, I thought the answer was that funds could be added to a nonprofit pool. So I don't know if it would be under the same terms as this grant, or whether this grant process, or whether you would open a different grant process. But I know we had that question asked. I think I might have asked it. And you're pointing to different funds versus maybe expanding this fund in the future. So I wanted to double check on that. Thank you.
Bailey Bordelin for the record. If I understand the question, it's will there be another round from this specific application process? I would say not at this time. The community recovery grant was for nonprofits that could help provide immediate relief through services to the community. So it was not necessarily as broad as is it eligible under the federal rules as a nonprofit for funding. It was there were parameters around the grant itself to be able to directly provide immediate services, with services being probably not a building, but rather food for food pantries as an example. So this specific grant, I would say, is closed at this time should you all approve this funding. But again, nonprofits are eligible in other ways and for other programs, ARP or not. I'm not saying there is not ARP funding available, because we do have a lot of nonprofits who are applying for the Home Means Nevada initiative. And I think there's an opportunity for other grants and opportunities going forward as well. But for direct, immediate community relief, I think this grant at this time would conclude if these items are approved today. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Dancer, for that question. Anybody else wishing to ask any questions?
Yes, Senator Dennis.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair.
Senator Neal.
I'm going to take my hand down. I'll figure that out. Okay. So I just had a quick question, and I guess this would be better directed to Ms. Bordelin. Do the sub-awardees have to go through any, I guess, extra bureaucracy or tape because they receive ARPA funds? Do they have to then do a different kind of reporting back because they're federal dollars?
Bailey Bordelin for the record. I will let GFO be on deck if I don't answer that question scientifically, but I would say yes, any federal dollars we receive have 2 CFR 200 additional rules and reporting and oversight that has to be done. So they will be working with the governor's finance office on that report back. We are actively reporting these dollars as they are being allocated, and we'll have to continue to have that oversight as required by the federal government. So it is a different process than other funds that may be used in other circumstances. But GFO, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, please, go ahead.
So the American Rescue Plan Act fiscal recovery funds, which we're working with, do have extensive specific reporting requirements related to these specific expenditure categories. So if it's addressing learning loss, if it's addressing public health or vaccinations or housing, those are specific categories called out under the final rule, and those do have additional reporting requirements related to qualified census tracts or the census, the population that are being served. So it is a bit more difficult money to work with than average federal money or than general fund or some of our other sources.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Just as a clarification, it's Miss Tilley, right?
Yes.
So there's a way then to verify as they're reporting this. How do you verify, like if they say there's learning loss and they've helped improve that? How do you verify those kinds of things?
So, Shauna Tilley, for the record, we are collecting reporting from everyone who is a recipient of these funds, and specific metrics. We have performance measures. We're collecting. This funding is generally on a reimbursement basis, so we're working off of reporting that indicates actual expenses dispersed and proof of those expenses and payment of those, and evidence. Each of the partners we're working with have maybe different mechanisms for collecting their data. So I can't say there's one specific method for collecting the data, but we're working with them to collect the information, the performance measures, or whatever other metrics they have, evidence-based information, that sort of thing.
So we feel comfortable that when they say they do something that we're able to verify that that's what they did.
Yes, Shauna Tilley, for the record, yes, that's part of the responsibility of subrecipient monitoring under federal funds. So that will be part of the responsibility of this office, working, I think, in partnership with the Division of Internal Audits, who's our department partner, and working in concert with some of the state agencies if we are passing these funds through other state agencies, then they will also be partnering with us to verify that.
Great, thank you. Ms. Bordelin, do you have enough staff to do all that?
We do, thank you. You all have worked with us to approve additional staff for the ARP project. So we have staffed up and are doing our best to, and I believe succeeding at being responsible in all of those duties. I would just add to the conversation that this isn't the only way in which nonprofits have received these ARP dollars through this. There have been allocations made directly to agencies as well as local governments, of course, but for the state level, agencies have received direct allocations as well, and many of those have gone through sub-awards that may have nonprofit subrecipients as well in other contexts.
Great, thank you very much. All right, before I go on, any other questions on item D? Okay, I'm not hearing any. So we'll go ahead and close that item out. We will now go to item E. Let me just, since we just went over that process, I was gonna ask about that, the process that they've gone through to get to this point. So all of these items relate to Community Recovery Grant Program, the CRG, which makes federal COVID-19 relief funding available to nonprofit organizations in Nevada. I just want to remind you that you do have a table that was sent, and it's also available publicly online and in the committee rooms that has all of the organizations that we are considering today for approval. And the only other thing that I want to make sure that we cover here is if you are an employee or serve on the board of any of the nonprofit organizations listed on the table, you will need to abstain from voting on that particular item. So in a second here, when I ask if there's any of those, that would be the point that you would want to bring that up. And what we're going to do is we'll pull out, and also in addition to that, any that you might have a question on, we'll pull those out. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and approve the rest as a whole if there's no questions, and there's no conflicts that we need to get on the record. So with that, let's move to that then. Do we have? Well, first I'll start it off. I do have to. I need to pull off the Las Vegas Area Council of Boy Scouts of America. I serve on the executive board, so I will be abstaining on that vote. What other ones do we have? I know I have a couple more.
Chair, this is
Yeah.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Go ahead, Assemblywoman Garland.
I need to abstain from number 35, the Foundation for Positively Kids, as I am employed by them.
Okay, foundation. All right. And I think I saw a hand or somebody. Who else? Yes, go ahead, Assemblyman Hafen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will have to abstain from E33, which is the CASA agenda item. My family currently donates commercial office space to their local organization.
Okay, noted. Who else? Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
Chairwoman Titus here. I don't have to abstain from any of them, but I would like number 22 pulled for more questions, please.
Okay, which one is mine? Let's see. I have that. 22 is Office of the Governor COVID Relief Program. That one is the cosmetology training, Nevada Department of Corrections, McClure Women's Correctional. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, so 22. All right, any other ones that anybody wishes to pull off, either for questions or?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
thank you. It's Assemblywoman Carlton. I apologize for being late. I lost the link earlier today, so thank
I know
you
that
for
feeling
making
sometimes.
sure that technology lapped me this afternoon. So item number 29, I have some questions on.
Okay, item number 29. Any others? So, not hearing any others. Let me make sure I got the numbers right on these. So the first one is item number 6. Is that right? I didn't look at it in the numbers. No, that's not that right. I might need staff to help me here because I didn't. I was going off the sheet that we did, and it doesn't have the numbers on there. Well, we know 22 and 29 we're going to pull off. We've got 30. Let's see, that was 31.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
could I pull 16?
16. Item number 16, which is that one's the 100 committed 100 men helping boys. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. And then we have the item number, I thought it was number 6. Oh, I'm sorry. Item number 5 with the Boy Scouts. Item number 30.
Mr. Chair, if you'd like, I've got a list of all the items.
Perfect. Thank you.
So this is Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal. For items to be pulled from the consent vote, I have E5, that's the Las Vegas Area Council of the Boy Scouts of America. E16, committed 100 men helping boys. E22, Expertise Inc. E29, Arriba Las Vegas Worker Center. E33, Nevada CASA Association. and E35, the Foundation for Positively Kids.
Great. Okay, any other ones that anyone wants pulled, or either for to ask questions or to abstain? Okay, I'm not hearing any. So Assemblywoman Carlton, would you make the motion to approve the rest of the ones on there and excluding those ones that we just talked about?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. I would move that we process all other items other than the ones that have been noted to be pulled today.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Senator Cannizzaro. Any further discussion on these items? All right, so let's see. We're gonna. Let's see. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. I'm not hearing nay. Both in Las Vegas and Carson City. I can't see you there, but I assume you would have got on. So I'm going to mark you as voting yay.
We're all ayes in Carson City.
And in Las Vegas?
Aye in Las Vegas as well.
Great, thank you. All right, so the motion passes, and we will then go on to these individual. Let's go to item number 5 first. Having consulted legal and having previously mentioned that I serve on the executive committee of the Boy Scouts, I am going to abstain on this vote. Is there any other questions or abstentions on this one?
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to take over for the vote for you since you have to abstain?
Yes, please.
I'd be happy to. So committee members, are there any questions or comments on this particular item?
So, Madam Co-Chair or Vice Chair, since we pulled it, I would like to know if there are any other Boy Scout associations that applied for this grant, and how many agencies of the Boy.
Assemblywoman Titus, you are frozen. But I believe we got most of the question out. Is there someone available to begin to answer Assemblywoman Titus's question? Ms. Bordelin, would that be you?
Madam Vice Chair, I think I can do that.
Okay.
Okay,
Who do we have?
Shauna Tilley, GFO, for the record.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We did not have any other Boy Scout organizations who applied for funds under the CRG.
And thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that this was the only one that applied, and that although our chair sits on that board, they also were the only ones that applied. So I'm supportive, and I'm happy to make the motion to approve this grant.
We'll make sure that there's no other questions or comments first. So with that, committee members, do I have any other issues on item number 5? Not seeing anyone, but okay. So with that, I believe we can go ahead and process item number 5. I would take a motion to process from Vice Chair Monroe Moreno, a second from Assemblywoman Titus. Comments on the motion? This would be the time, Mr. Chairman, for your abstention, I believe.
Yes, I will be abstaining on this motion.
Okay, thank you very much. So Chair will be abstaining. All those in favor, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
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 And are there any opposed? Or would you signify by saying nay? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously with 1 abstention. With that, I'll hand the gavel back to the chair.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
You're very welcome. Got your back.
All right, let's go to item number 16. I believe on that one, we have a question.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. So my question, and I don't know if 100 Black Men is on. I heard, I think the discussion was that it would apply to North Las Vegas and parts of Las Vegas. But I guess I was just curious on the mental health counseling piece and how they were leveraging that work within the space, and who were going to be their community partners to try to leverage this grant for the 277.
Can you hear me, Senator Neal?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. As far as community partners, we're going to be working closely.
Make sure you identify yourself first for the record.
Oh, okay. I'm Mike Waller. I'm the president of Committed 100 Men Up and Boys, DBA Rising Stars Behavioral Health. We're going to be working closely with the Clark County School District, some of the local community centers like Pearson, Andre Agassi. I forget the one that is in East Las Vegas, and then there's one over toward further east. I can't think of it, but we're going to be galvanizing and moving into the community. As far as looking, finding those applicants, clients that are in need, that are in low income, disproportionate area, not only in North Las Vegas, but it's my understanding the grant is going to extend into Las Vegas and other parts of Clark County as well. So as far as partnering, I mean, we're just going to go ahead and reach out to those different resources as far as making sure that we get the clients and all, especially the Clark County School District. That's going to be our number one target as far as, because that is the population as far as youth that we'll be serving, that we feel that are faced with a lot of the mental health barriers today, especially pre and post-COVID.
Okay, thank you for that. And thank you, Chair, Mr. Waller. I hopefully we can talk offline. I have some direct ideas on how you can probably leverage this in a different way, a little bit more cohesive way.
Sure, definitely. I would be more than happy. I would be more than happy to if I can get your number.
Mr. Waller, you have to identify yourself when you're.
I'm sorry. Again, Mike Waller, the president of Committed 100 Men, DBA Rising Stars. Thank you, Senator Neal. I look forward to reaching out, contacting you where I can do that, because we definitely want to reach out and serve the low income as relative to mental health, because there is a dire need. And I've been doing this for about 8 years, and I definitely would want to continue to broaden that population, if you will.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions on this item? Not hearing any. Someone, Carlton, would you like to make a motion?
I would be happy to move for approval of this item, Mr. Chair.
We have a second from Senator Cannizzaro. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor, say aye, or you could raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, the vote is unanimous, is approved. We move to it passes. We move to item number 22, Office of the Governor. This one's related to Expertise Inc. to provide cosmetology training to students. I believe there was a question on this one.
Yes, that was my question. Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we have somebody on board.
Yes, hi, Gwen Bremo, present.
Great, thank you. So if I might, Mr. Chair, go ahead and ask my question, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
So thank you for applying for the grant, and thank you for being willing to help educate some of our folks that would be wonderful for them to have a way of making a living once they have been released from incarceration. My question is, from the one page that you submitted, it looks like you're going to touch or hope to touch about 70 to 80 students. My question is, and it's a 2-year program, the funding actually seems rather small for that number of students, and I'm wondering, for 16 hours of education, will that also cover, if they complete the program, the cost of taking the test, the cost of licensure? Is that going to be a kind of a package for them if they succeed at this, as opposed to just making the 16 hours? So I'm just wondering if that's the whole 16 hours, 1,600 hours for 70 to 80 students, including the application, the licensure, the testing, which all can be very expensive.
Thank you for your question. The program.
You need to identify.
I apologize. Gwen Bramo, for the record. The program is a 1,600-hour program, correct, and it's licensed by the Nevada State Board of Cosmetology. The participants are licensed while they're incarcerated, and then they're released. So if a participant decides to participate in the program and they come up time for release, well, we have an agreement with the parole, the institution, that participant has to remain until their hours are complete so that they can be licensed and they're able to go out to work. But yes, that price includes it's for 40 participants, not 70. I wish we were able to service 70, but it's for 40.
Thank you, follow up, Mr. Chair, on that. So the note that was submitted says, this is from, I'm not sure who submitted this note, but it was submitted on July 8th, and it was the explanation, and it says it's for 70 to 80 students attending the program in the first 2 years. So I'm wondering, and so am I hearing you correctly that the 1,600 hours, if they are released from incarceration before they complete the program, they can't continue outside of their incarceration? They'd have to stay. Can you clarify what that meant?
Right, because the participants that we enroll into the program are participants that's considered like in level 1, which is like no write-ups, no trouble, but they have a time that when they're entering the program, it's about 70 to 80 participants every time we have an enrollment. So I wish we could really take them all, but the participant does have to stay within that time, because if they're going to be released, it's only going to be like a month or 2. So they stay so that they can get their license and ready to go. But they have a time frame which they can participate in the program.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
For the record, that response was from Gwen. Just want to make sure she didn't identify at the beginning. Okay.
For the record.
Any other questions? I'm not hearing any. Simon Carlton, do you want to make a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move for approval of this item.
Okay, and second from Senator Canizaro. So we have a motion to approve item number 22. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sure they're still coming in there. Any opposed, say nay. Yeah, not hearing any nay, so the motion carries as unanimous and passes. We are on item number 29 now, the Office of the Governor, COVID relief. This one is to subaward Arriba Las Vegas Workers Center to provide occupational safety and health administration, the OSHA training in Spanish. Who had that question?
Mr. Chairman, I did pull it, but I know the vice chair had questions before me. I happened to jump in line before, so I'd be happy to defer to her first, and then I'll be the cleanup hitter if necessary.
Okay, so we've got Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Chair Carlton. I just have a few questions. I don't know if there's anyone in the Zoom room from Ariba.
Good afternoon, Bliss Requitrouts on behalf of our Rio Las Vegas Worker Center for the record.
Hi, thank you for joining us today. First of all, I just want to applaud you for the work that you are doing in our community. I just had a few questions. How does the worker find your program would be my first question. And then my second question would be, once they go to the training, are you able to connect them with gainful employment?
Yes, great questions. I'm sorry, Bliss Requitrouts for the record. Thank you for those questions. In regards to accessing the program, we have included a number of different outreach strategies in the proposal. And so there will be outreach focused in qualified census tracts. And so that outreach is going to be in the form of direct worker outreach. It could be in and around construction sites or construction sites, stores that provide construction materials. We have also previously, through COVID-19 relief funding, built the infrastructure to go door to door, targeting outreach to Hispanic households in qualified census tracts, as well as an identified list of folks who have expressed interest in the past. And the program will be advertised on social media platforms that are frequently used by folks who are in the group of disproportionately impacted community members that we're trying to reach out to. In regards to connecting with employment, we are not a hiring hall. We're not a day laborer dispatch. And so those opportunities are frequently through referrals with, for example, the bricklayers will come in and advise when there are entry-level positions that we're able to pass through the information to contact potential unions. And, for workers to share amongst themselves opportunities for employment without us stepping into a job placement role.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chair, can I ask 2 other questions?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. I may have missed it in our notes, but is there any cost to the worker for your program? And is it all in-person training, or is it in class and online?
Thank you for the question. Again, Bliss Requitrouts for the record. There is no cost to the worker. So the program is covering the cost of issuing the OSHA 10 or OSHA 30 card that workers will take with them to prove that they are OSHA authorized for work on construction sites. And workers who complete the courses, who complete the minimum training hours, will also be listed in the state directory. In addition to providing folks with take-home materials that they can keep on hand for future reference. That was your first question regarding cost. Assemblywoman, could you please remind me your second question?
Thank you. The second question was, are all the classes in person, or is there a hybrid where a person could take classes virtually?
Yes, thank you. Again, Bliss Requitrouts for the record. We are implementing an in-person model. With our experience working with this population, it's more effective to ensure that folks are able to access the program. Through past trainings, we've learned that potential workers experience technology barriers to be able to effectively participate in online training programs. And so these classes specifically are in person, although there are opportunities for like refreshers online.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the opportunity for the questions.
Thank you. Assemblywoman Carlton.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. So that answered a couple of mine, seeing that the training is in person. I do know that when this training happens in a registered apprenticeship program, which leads to full-time employment or has actual full-time employment as one of the components, the trainers have to have a certain qualifications. So within this amount of money, it doesn't really break down We just have the total amount listed coming in and going out. There's no real breakdown on how it goes. So in order to be able to hire those trainers, since you're doing it in person, what portion of this will be going to pay for those trainers?
Great question. And I'm pulling up our submitted budget documentation. And again, I'm sorry, this is Bliss Requitrouts for the record.
Thank you.
So the training rate that we have established here is $25 an hour, and that training contract includes training prep time, training provision, as well as the assessments, the follow-up with workers to complete the evidence-based assessments. And I'm almost at that line, and I can give it to exactly. We've got 30,000 of that is for the OSHA authorized trainer.
Okay, so and thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in partnering with SCATS, you will get the trainers through them. And the reason why I have this line of questioning is that we have had problems with not qualified trainers out there giving cards to folks, where folks could merely go online, take basically an open book test, pay a pretty good sized fee and get a card. I just want to make sure that this is a legitimate training opportunity and they're qualified trainers. We don't need folks out there with cards that don't protect them or the workers that are around them.
Bliss Requitrouts for the record. Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Carlton. Training contract with authorized trainers who have current OSHA authorization through an occupational training institute federally through OSHA, and who are also registered in the Nevada state database of authorized trainers.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Not hearing any. Madam Vice Chair, would you like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to defer to Ms. Monroe Moreno.
Oh, okay. Ms. Monroe Moreno, would you make a motion?
I move to approve item number 29.
Thank you. I have a second from Senator Cannizzaro. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Okay, motion carries. Motion is approved. Let's go to item number 33, which is the Nevada CASA subaward to Nevada CASA to increase local staffing levels to provide advocacy services for abused and neglected children. And I believe that one was Assemblywoman Gorlow has a conflict there. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct.
Oh, sorry. So somebody had a question then.
Mr. Chairman, Assemblyman Hafen will be abstaining from this agenda item.
I swapped those. Sorry, on my notes I swapped those around. So Assemblyman Hafen will be abstaining. Is there any questions on this item?
Mr. Chairman, I really don't have a question. I just would like to say that this is one of the items that really will have a significant impact in the state. CASA is something that we have needed to expand for so long, and it's so important to these children. And the folks that have been doing this work over the years without some of this support have done a fantastic job. And I'm very, very happy that we're able to support them this way. It really will make a difference in these children's lives.
Yes, and I would second that. The passion that these folks have as they serve kids is just amazing, and the work that they do is just amazing. And the fact that they've been able to continue, even though they haven't had all the funding that they've needed, this is really going to make a big difference. So thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Assemblyman Carlton, would you like to make the motion?
Happy to, Mr. Chairman. I would move for approval of this item.
Okay, we have a second by Senator Cannizzaro. Any further discussion on the motion? This is where Assemblyman Hafen put your abstention on the record.
I'll be abstaining.
Thank you. All right, any other comments on the motion? All right, with that, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Okay, motion passes. We have one abstention from Senator Assemblyman Hafen. All right, now let's go to item number 35, which is the Foundation for Positively Kids providing early intervention services for children with developmental delays. And I believe this is the one, Assemblywoman Gorlo, that you had a conflict on. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I will be abstaining.
Okay. Any other questions on this item? I am not hearing any. Okay, with that, Assemblyman Carlton, do you make a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very happy to make a motion on this one. Also, it truly makes a difference to parents and children, young children that need early intervention. We know how significant it is. So I'm happy to move for approval of this item.
All right, and we have a second from Senator Cannizzaro. Any further discussion on the motion? Assemblyman Gorlo, you want to put your abstention on the record?
Yes, I will be abstaining from the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And we have one abstention from Assemblyman Gorlo. The motion passes. Okay. That I just want to take a second here and thank all of those that have received grants today. The work that you will do is really going to make a difference in Nevada, and we appreciate you, the work that you're doing, and appreciate the opportunity to be able to help in that process. So thank you very much. That will close out item number E. And we will now go to item number F, Department of Business and Industry, Housing Division. This is an informational only item. It's the status report on the Home Means Nevada Initiative of Affordable Housing as requested during the April 7th, 2022 meeting of the IFC. I don't know who we have here for that.
Good afternoon, Chair Dennis, members of the committee. This is Michael Holliday, the Chief Financial Officer for the Housing Division. Glad to provide the report for you folks today. We received 234 pre-applications, which was kind of the first step in the process to screen applicants to move them through the process. Of the 234, 180 pre-applications have been approved and have moved on to the second round, which is the full application process. Much more involved process, much more documentation required at that point. By our estimates, even after dropping from 234 to 180, there's roughly $2.5 billion in requests for the $500 million worth of funding. So we're substantially oversubscribed, and that was across all four categories of the available funding. New development and preservation are two of the categories. That application process has actually been started. It's been open. All of the pre-applicants have been notified whether they've been invited to apply for the second round or if they did not make enough points to move through. And that application will close on August 12th. So we did extend that a couple of weeks to give them more time because the documentation is fairly substantial. 150 of the 180 approved pre-applications are going to be in these first two categories. So it is the bulk of the funding. It's also the largest two categories of the overall funding. Since the last report that we provided to the committee, we have actually held a webinar to walk everyone through the application step by step in conjunction with Governor's Finance Office and the vendor that's providing the portal that applicants use. We've also created an FAQ page, and we actually held a separate question and answer session. So A week after everyone had access to the application, we held another Q&A session so we could answer questions that they had at that point before moving forward. We are working on the home ownership and rehabilitation categories to work through the same kind of application process. More important for us to do the first two categories, new development and preservation. Those projects will take a lot longer to come to fruition, so we wanted to get a head start on those. We've also been engaging in weekly conversations with Clark County, discussing their community housing fund and how it can interact with the Home Means Nevada initiative to make sure that we can leverage both sets of funding to make sure we get as much affordable housing developed as we can. And with that, we stand ready to answer any questions you might have at this point.
Great. Do we have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a couple, if I may.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. And you know, we're all a citizens legislature, so we all bring the rest of our lives along with us, including our jobs. And one thing that I'm hearing 4 and 5 times a day is I'm hearing from seniors that are having a very tough time paying their rent because the rents are going up and it's actually going to be more than the money that they're bringing in on their fixed incomes. So that leads me to the question, if you've gotten that amount of applications for new development and the other, so that's a significant portion. Do we know how many of those applications will be geared towards low-income senior housing? Do we have a handle on that yet?
For the record, Michael Holiday from the Housing Division, through you, Chair, to Ms. Carlton. I can get that, and we'll add that to the report, actually. That's something that we haven't tracked at this point, the difference between family and senior. In our normal tax credit program, they have to delineate. Now, it's possible with the ARPA funding, they could actually do a mix. They could do something that was available to both, but we can get that number for you for sure. We can pull that out, and we have another report due at the next IFC, and we'll bring it forward to you then. Yeah, we'll break it down by senior and family to give you an idea of what's been applied for.
Okay, thank you. And if we could get some time frames, that would be very helpful. We know working families are struggling also, but we know sometimes seniors have fewer options. So I'm just curious as to what percentage of this housing will be going to support seniors.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Hi, Assemblywoman Titus here again, and just wondering about your, and this is for Mr. Holliday, wondering about your makeup of the pre-application scoring committee. And I see that these are all state folks from the state and one person from Clark County, and just wondering how that was decided. And I see nobody from a private sector on this committee on how to award these grants, nobody, even a homeless person perhaps, or anybody, a retiree or a senior or something like that. And so how was this committee chosen?
Michael Holiday, for the record, Chair, through you to Assemblywoman Titus. It was going to be difficult to have someone from those lines of the private sector that you discussed, developers for sure, because a lot of them would be applying. But as far as rank and file, like a retired person or a homeless person or something, the expertise that's required to screen these projects, I'm not sure if they would have them. So, and Director Administrator Aycroft is not here, who did kind of work with the Department of Business Industry to select the committee. These are all folks that are experts in the field, but who wouldn't be applying for the funds, who could actually score neutrally across the board. And I think that the level of expertise that we required, especially for the financial sections of the applications, would have been difficult for someone who isn't kind of in this industry or works in this field.
Thank you for that. It's always good to have somebody, I think, with a different perspective on what a need might be, just for asking a question, even if they're a non-voting member of a committee, to have some insight. So I'm just concerned about how narrow I see this committee in making their choices. And I understand that you needed to have somebody in finance and all that, but sometimes it's bigger than that. Sometimes it's somebody who's lived it, walked it, and so just have concerns about that. Appreciate all the expertise you have there, so I don't want you to. I'm not discounting that at all. I just wonder sometimes when we put these committees together, sometimes it's nice to have somebody who truly may have some actual skin in the game. So, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not hearing any other questions. That was an informational item, so I'll go ahead and close that item out, and we'll go to item number G, which is the Department of Motor Vehicles. This also is an informational item. It's the report from the Department of Motor Vehicles on the issuance of technology fee refunds. You can find it under tab G in the meeting packet. And I believe we have Mr. Sever here with us today.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and IFC members. Sean Sever from the Nevada DMV. Thank you for this opportunity to give you an update on our tech fee refund project. For a little background, SB 542 was enacted during the 80th legislative session, authorizing the DMV to continue collecting a $1 technology fee for transactions through June 2022 to pay the expenses associated with upgrading the DMV's IT platform. SB 542 was legally challenged, and it was argued that it should have required a 2/3 majority to pass rather than passing by a simple majority. In May of 2021, the Supreme Court of Nevada agreed with the district court decision finding that SB 542 was unconstitutional, and consequently, the DMV was ordered to refund the $1 tech fees. The DMV started issuing the refunds by sending out checks to businesses on February 22nd of this year. A total of 61,005 business refunds were issued for a total of almost $2.2 million. 43,693 of these business refunds have cleared through June 30th for a total of more than $1.6 million, or 73%. The customer refunds were made available to the public on April 4th of this year, and 22,894 of those refunds have been issued through June 30th for more than $70,000, or 1.9%. The total amount of customer refunds available is just over 3.8 million. So in summary, the combined total of business and customer refunds authorized for distribution is just over $6 million, and through June 30th, we have distributed almost $1.7 million. Any funds remaining after June 30th, 2023 will revert to the State Highway Fund pursuant to Section 4.7 of Senate Bill 457 of the 2021 legislative session. Thank you, and I'd be able to answer any questions at this point.
Do we have any questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
please. So thank you for that. I appreciate the update. It sounds willfully underreported, however, people are not taking advantage of it. And so I'm wondering if we're doing any public service announcements, not for the businesses. I think you've done a good job with them, but for that private citizen, that's a lot of money that's still sitting there, not accounted for. I think we all dread going down to the DMV. If we can avoid it, we'll do it online, etc. And so I'm just wondering if there's any public service announcements out there, anything going on that says, hey, this is their, and maybe it's not worth the price of gas right now to run down to your DMV and give yourself the time for $1, $2, however many cars you might have been affected by. But I think it'd be nice to see there's some public announcement there. Is there a public awareness program going on?
Yes, Sean Sever from the Nevada DMV. Ms. Titus, we did do a very large advertising campaign at the start of this program, and we have posted on social media, our website, trying to get the word out to people. In truth, we're just not seeing the interest from the public. When we have a large room full of people downstairs in our lobby, we'll make an announcement to say, hey folks, come on over and get your tech fee refund. And people will be looking at their phone, they'll look up and look back down. So they won't even hardly walk across the room to get their refund. So anyway, we're doing the best we can to get the word out, and we'll just keep trying.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We use out here in rural Nevada, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So I think I appreciate your attempt. I think at the end of the day, I think we as a body can say that, hey, we've made this attempt. And so I know I have not gone down, and I have multiple cars and probably a few dollars sitting there. But again, the price of a 30-mile trip to wait an hour to get $1 is sometimes hard to just. But thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for the update. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
Senator Goicoechea. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question for Mr. Sievers. I saw a notice that said you can no longer walk into a DMV office. I guess then that would preclude you from going in to get your dollar refund because you've got to have an appointment to go in?
Sure, Sean Sever from the DMV, and thank you for the question. I'm glad I could clarify that. You do not need an appointment to come get your refund, so you can just walk right in. We have a dedicated window in our offices for tech fee refunds. So come on in and get your refund.
Thank you, Mr. Sievers. Mr. Chair, that means then if I still got a refund outstanding, I can go in and do some other business as well?
Sean Sever from the DMV. No, to do other business, you need an appointment in our urban offices.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? I'm not hearing any. That one is also an informational item. So we will then go to our next item on the agenda, which is our last and final public comment period for this agenda. So anyone wishing to, let's go first to Las Vegas. Anyone wishing to give public comment in Las Vegas?
We do, Chair.
Was that a yes, we do, or we do? Okay, perfect. Okay, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Good afternoon. I am Jane Saint from the Nevada CASA Association. I'm the state executive director. And first, I would like to thank Assemblywoman Carlton and Senator Dennis for their outstanding comments. We really appreciate your support. We appreciate the whole committee's support for this ARPA funding. It will make an incredible difference in the lives of children here. It'll allow us to ramp up our volunteer recruitment efforts and our training efforts. So on behalf of those children who have been abused and neglected, I want to say thank you for all of your support, and we will be reporting some really great things in the future. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in Las Vegas?
There's no one else, Chair.
Great, thank you. Let's go to Carson City. Anyone wishing to give public comment in Carson City?
We don't see any takers. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Goicoechea. So BPS, anybody online that wishes to give public comment?
Thank you, Chair Dennis. To offer public comment for today's meeting, please press raise hand in the Zoom client or *9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. Once more, that is *9 or raise hand in the Zoom client.
I know I can see Dr. Tiffany Tyler has raised her hand. Why don't we go to her first?
Good afternoon, Chair and distinguished members. I just want to sincerely thank you on behalf of children and families for all of the critical investments that you approved today. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to seeing our communities recover. Thank you.
And don't forget, put your name on the record.
Dr. Tiffany Tyler Garner for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have, let's see. I thought I saw another hand. Don't know where it went.
Chair Dennis, it's
Yes.
Mr. Ryan Moon who's has his hand raised if you want to call on him.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moon, if you go ahead when you're ready.
Hi, again, Ryan Moon and Todd Walter here with the Las Vegas Area Council Boy Scouts of America. And just want to say thank you so much to the committee, all your dedication and time reviewing our grant. And this will truly impact the lives of thousands of youth here in Las Vegas and the immediate surrounding areas. But we are so grateful. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to give public comment?
Thank you, Chair. We do have a few callers. Give us one moment.
Thank you.
Caller with the last 3 digits, 653. You are unmuted and may begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Dora Martinez from Nevada Disability Peer Action Coalition and the Nevada Council of the Blind. Thank you, Chair Dennis and the amazing MVP, Chair Carlton. We appreciate all that you guys do. And thank you to Assemblywoman Titus, who brought up the committee. I'm sorry, there's a barking dog. It's not my service dog. For the Committee for Housing, it is important, although you all don't see disabled people running about and walking around, we are here and we are looking forward to be included in that committee, so that way everybody are included and available housing are obtainable to people with disability. I also want to thank you so much. The AB 121 bill, we are absolutely voting, and we appreciate all that you all do. And today is the Americans Disability Act 32nd anniversary, and we appreciate everything that you continue to include people with disability. Thank you. Stay hydrated.
Thank you very much. All right. Go ahead with the next one.
Caller with the last three digits, 577. You are unmuted and may begin. Caller 577. You are unmuted and may begin.
Did we lose him?
Mr. Chair, Chris Daly, Nevada State Education Association, the voice of Nevada educators for over 120 years. Last month, NFCA testified to this committee about the dire educator shortage facing Nevada school districts heading into next school year. With back to school now less than 2 weeks away for most Nevada students, sadly, we still have an unprecedented shortage of educators to teach our kids and make our schools run. This past year, we witnessed unprecedented educator departures from the state or the profession with low worker morale. Meanwhile, hiring into these vacant positions has proven slow and difficult. NFCA has been tracking vacant positions across Nevada school districts. Most alarming, CCSD alone sits with nearly 2,100 vacant positions, nearly as many as were listed a month ago. When kids go back to school a week from Monday, will there be a bus driver to pick them up? Will there be a teacher in their classroom? Unfortunately, this issue is not limited to Clark County. Washoe currently lists 440 vacancies, and there are nearly 300 vacancies across Douglas, Nye, and Elko. Nevada needs bold action to address this crisis. It's time to adequately fund public education in Nevada. It's time to respect and retain our experienced educators. It's time for 20. Time for 20 means a 20% increase in educator pay and at least $20 an hour for the workers who make our schools run. Time for 20 means reaching an average class size of 20 students. This is the right-sized response to our educator shortage and would get educators the pay they need to make ends meet. One-time retention bonuses are a nice gesture, but as prices are climbing faster than any point in the last 40 years, with CPI now approaching 9%, Nevada needs to get serious about raises for educators that keep up with the long-term cost of living. Even when inflation comes down, prices and the cost of living almost always continues to go up. As you heard from the Economic Forum last month, state revenue is outperforming projections by 25% or close to $800 million. This news comes as our education system is hemorrhaging staff. Educators and our students need bold action, and Nevada has the resources to make a big impact right now. It's time for 20. It's time for our elected leaders to do something. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go to the next caller.
Thank you, Chair. If you are just joining us, we are on PC, public comment. If you would like to provide public comment, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last three digits, 880. You are unmuted and may begin.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. For the record, this is Fred Schultz, the CEO for Positively Kids. We appreciate the funding very much. As you know, with autism and early intervention, we've got about 1,400 kids on a waiting list. We hope that this program will begin to make a dent in that. We certainly can't get through all of those children and provide services, but It will give us the opportunity to move this program to a full autism program and start to give some relief to the parents who are so frustrated. We get about 39 referrals on a monthly basis.
Did we lose him?
We appreciate the funding very much. As you know, with autism and early intervention, we've got about 1,400 on the waiting list. We hope that this program will make a dent in that. We certainly can't get through all of those children and provide. We appreciate all of your support. The opportunity to get into a full autism program. Start to.
Did you? Sorry, I think we lost you there for a minute. Did you complete your message? Your comment?
Yes, I did. Thank you for your support.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next comment. Next caller.
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. However, there are no other callers wishing to offer a public comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have come to the end of our agenda. I know you're used to staying much longer when we meet with IFC, but we're done with our work for today. And thank you for being with us this afternoon. We have another regularly scheduled meeting coming up in August, so keep an eye out for that one. And with that, we have no further items to come before us at this time. Let me just double check with staff. Did we miss anything that we need to make sure that we cover?
No, Mr. Chair, you covered all the agenda items.
Great, thank you. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you and have a great afternoon.